My name is Erin Clark. I know many of you, and I am with the Office of Career Readiness. I have Dr. Bacino with me today, who is actively seeking to find a solution to our interactive poll challenge that we're experiencing right now. But he is also going to be launching and hopefully providing some other opportunities for us to engage in this webinar today. And so we are really looking to provide support for this transition that is for the 26-27 school year. The information shared with you today is based on feedback that you've already given us, a needs survey that we've collected from the field, and we're excited to be able to support you in how to elevate the conversations with your students and families as it relates to the IGP process and the career cluster shift. Taking a quick break just to make sure. I think we're trying to get the chat set up. We did have an interactive poll at the beginning that we're going to measure your understanding and then do that again at the end if we can get the chat feature and the poll feature to work. But before we get started, I want to ground ourselves in the purpose. So it will be a success today if you leave feeling informed and connected. In our session, the bigger goal is just to keep you informed on the shifts that are happening, not just in OCR, but around all of our offices here, and then to connect you with tools and resources that you will be able to use in the field. So here's the poll that we're asking, and if you're not able to actually put it into the poll, just take a minute and reflect. How confident are you in discussing modernized clusters with your students and your parents and others? Just take a minute to rate yourself on this poll. We did post it in the Q&A. That's a feature that you can find. So go ahead, and if you do the three dots at the top, you should be able to find the Q&A tab, and you should be able to find the poll there. We're going to give you just a minute to see if you can find that. We will be referencing the Q&A quite a bit today. You will be able to drop questions into that, and we will definitely keep an eye on the Q&A as we progress through the webinar. So here's a quick overview of where we're headed today. We're going to start with some resources, share with you kind of an overview of where to find them. Then we're going to look at EEDA, the law where this message is rooted. In the IGP, we're going to take a deep dive into what it is, why we have this purposeful planning process in place. And then finally, we're going to break it down into what that means for your role. So specifically what that looks like in practice, and then how you can apply that immediately into your work. We have a landing page available for you today. You can use this bit.ly code or scan the QR code. All resources that we will share with you today are housed in this landing page. So we encourage you to bookmark it. This is going to be your one-stop location for all the links we share, tools, the references throughout the session. We definitely don't want you to have to memorize everything, and we want you to have easy access if you need to go back and look at it even further. Speaking of, we will be talking about a lot of different resources. Advanced CTE is a great resource if you're looking for visuals to support your modernized career cluster discussions with your families. They have a lot of different features and printables that you can do there. And then we have other workforce information, labor trends from the Department of Employment and Workforce. You can find links to EEDA. Again, we're going to talk about that more in depth as we get into this discussion today. You will find information about Palmetto Pathways, graduation tracking, and then that Perkins 5 law in the Student Reporting Procedures Guide is also linked in the landing page. We will briefly discuss tiered certifications, and we'll talk about CCR and different terms today, and all of those links are located in that quick reference section of the landing page. Our goal with the webinars is to ensure consistency across the state. We want you guys to establish a common language that you're using with families. And these are just some of the terms that we're going to cover today in this series and that we're going to focus on. First one you'll hear a lot today is career cluster. So that broad organization of careers that helps students explore their interests and really understand where those fit, and then they are aligned with the CTE framework. We're also going to talk about the IGP, or the Individualized Graduation Plan, and what that is. It's not just a document, but we're going to talk about what that looks like in terms of career advising and that tool. We'll make a distinction today between a major and a career cluster, and how those look different in the IGP, even though they're both noted. We'll also talk about the difference between pathway and the term program or program of study. And then you'll hear us talk about work-based learning and how those experiences, real-world experiences, fit into that process. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. B. He has another interactive session, or a part of our session today, and he is going to kind of walk you through how this works.
All right, good,
Sorry about that.
good afternoon. Sorry, there's echo there. I am going to enable the chat, so hopefully this will work this time. So,
Oops.
based off of those terms that Aaron just went over, what where's the oh, there it is. So I'm launching the next one. Which term from today would you like more support or clarity on? So based off of those terms that are there, you should see this poll pop up. And then you can go ahead and enter your response for one of those words. We'll give you just a minute to enter that response.
Gonna mute yours. All right. Thank you for doing that self-assessment today again. And we're doing these checkpoints along the way for two reasons. One, to help us learn these webinar features so that we can get better to deliver that for the field. And two, so that you can start to think about which ones you want to learn more about, how we can support you better with the resources we are offering from the Office of Career Readiness. So thank you, Tara. We are going to go over that today in terms of what that program means and how it differs from a pathway and how it fits into the career cluster conversation. Let's start with why. Why are we using these terms? Why are we talking about and being intentional about the graduation plan process? And that is rooted in Education, Economic, and Development Act. So this law requires that students must develop an individualized graduation plan starting in 8th grade, with career exploration opportunities in 6th and 7th grade leading up into that discussion. The IGP must be aligned to that career cluster that we're going to talk about today. And then they have, by 10th grade, they are supposed to declare a major. And again, we're going to talk about these in just a minute so that you feel more confident in discussing that with your students and families. This process, this intentional planning process, is in place to promote that ongoing collaboration between the counselor, the career specialist, career guidance personnel, and parents and educators and students. And it goes right along with our mission in the Office of Career Readiness. So we exist to ensure that every learner in South Carolina has access to a high quality, workforce aligned education pathway that leads to personal success and economic mobility. And our vision in the office is to lead the nation in delivering transformative career readiness and adult education systems that really empower every South Carolinian, no matter their background or their age, to thrive in a dynamic, opportunity-rich workforce. So thank you in joining us in that discussion today. Thank you for the work you do. And thank you for being purposeful in making these discussions more than just a document, but a purposeful plan for the student. Speaking of plan, I mentioned earlier, one of our terms today is IGP, Individualized Graduation Plan. So what is that? They're not just a document, we want them to be an essential career advising tool in South Carolina. They're supposed to be personalized to each student. They are built collaboratively every year. And we want it to focus on their goals for after high school, but also to align the coursework with those goals to fit in that future planning. So this is that document or that plan where the career clusters become real life. And we're going to talk about deeper dive into that. This is not meant to be just a compliance tool or just a checkbox, but we want it to be that central piece of the planning process for students. You talked about program earlier, Tara, but we're going to talk about right now a little bit of another distinction we need to make clear, which is the difference between an EEDA major and a career cluster, and then how those two things fit into the career cluster framework, the curriculum framework. So EEDA majors are district or school defined. The State Department does not define or approve EEDA majors. And they are aligned, four courses aligned for credits within a career cluster. So they fall under the career cluster. You can see the visual on your screen to make it fit. And there can be more than one cluster under an academy, also district specific, not designated by the state. And so under this, we have all of that fitting together to provide a curriculum framework, and the academic courses that we're going to talk about in just a second fit into those areas on the IGP. So this goes to the question that was asked about program. So a CTE program is different than a major, and it is a sequence of courses that is state recognized and approved, right? And so the CTE program is defined by the Department of Education in the Office of Career Readiness, and it's directly tied to the SIP code. And a completer in a CTE program, this refers to a student who has earned the required units in the state recognized CTE program. A CTE completer who also earns appropriate certifications, those students are considered career ready. And a state recognized CTE program could require anywhere between 3 to 8 Carnegie units to complete the program. You can find all this information on the landing page under the link with the Student Reporting Procedures Guide. So if you want to look at all of those state-defined programs, those are in there for you under the Student Reporting Procedures Guide. Again, hop back to the landing page. And if you have questions as we go through this information, don't forget to use your Q&A feature. So this is just another breakdown for the visual learners, a chart that shows you the difference between an EEDA major and a CTE completer. So I'll give you a minute just to become familiar with the differences, because it really helps to understand that as you're talking to students and to families who are planning their schedules. You're going to note that the CTE majors, again, just a reminder, those are district specific and school specific. Those are not decided on by the state. We do collect that information in the reporting process when it comes to IGP information. And when we talk about our career specialist accountability reports, we talk about majors. We also talk about the comprehensive, how all of this fits together with our CTE programs. Remember, the CTE completers, those are state determined criteria. The CTE completing information is used tied directly to the school report card. All right, so the big shift that we've been talking about for quite some time is that during the 26-27 school year, we will now be following the modernized framework for career clusters. You may have heard a lot about this already, but we're going to talk about it some more today so that you feel comfortable in your discussions. So we've shifted, or we've adopted, the modernized framework, and this aligns with our CTE programs and the updated clusters. Nothing has been removed. The clusters have been expanded. We now have 3 cross-cutting clusters represented: digital technology, management and entrepreneurship, and marketing and sales. So the updated cluster system does align with those industry recognized tiered certifications. Those are necessary for supporting that career ready designation that we hear when we talk about CTE completer status. This is just another view. This view breaks it down into 6 different groupings based on the category where the cluster fits the best. So you're still going to see the 14 clusters outlined in these groups. The first group breaks it down into jobs and careers that are based off of caring for your community. In that, we have education, healthcare and human services, and public service and safety. Building and moving is where you'll find advanced manufacturing, construction, and supply chain and transportation. The 3 cross-cutting clusters that are interwoven into this new system are digital technology, again, management and entrepreneurship, and marketing and sales. I want to make a note here that JROTC is now under the public service and safety cluster. Here's our last 3 groups. Creating and experiencing, that grouping now has arts, entertainment, and design, hospitality, events, and tourism. And then our 5th group is cultivating resources, where you will find careers under agriculture and energy and natural resources. And then the last group is investing in the future. We have our financial services careers located there. You have a QR code if you would like to have these resources for your career advising discussions. And again, these are on the landing page. So this slide brings it all together. We've made the shift. We're about to make the shift to the 14 cluster framework. So how does that fit with the IGP process? Career clusters provide that framework, and then that IGP is what brings it to life. So through this conference, this collaboration that's ongoing, our students get to explore their interests. They get to select one of those career clusters, and then by 10th grade, declare a major. And then all of their coursework and academic scheduling should be aligned with those clusters and majors and with what they want to do after high school. This process ensures that intentional planning, not just in the moment, but looking beyond to equip them for future success. Let's talk about what that means for each person. So today's webinar, our target audience are career specialists, career guidance personnel, school counselors, and educators. So school counselor, their role in this is a central role. So as a school counselor, you are advising, you're aligning your messaging now, not with the old framework, but to align with the new framework. Your role is to expand those exploration opportunities starting early, so students feel empowered in that process. It's important to use data and to close the gaps as you're walking through the process. And all along the way, we're working with other stakeholders around us, not in silos, and having these discussions with our families, with the educators, and we're going to get into how our career specialists come alongside. And remember, as you're thinking about this process, if you do have specific questions regarding each role, be sure to put them in the Q&A. So our career specialists, who I just noted, this is a really powerful partnership because they are delivering those career exploration services early on. They're helping the process with the school counselor, working in that learning to work domain. And they are also directly tied to that EEDA legislation. Their roles and responsibilities are outlined clearly in that 59-100 section of the legislation. And so we're very thankful for the part they play in this process of career development and career readiness. So for educators, and when we think of educators, we think of CTE educators and non-CTE educators and how this works together. So why would an IGP matter for them? Well, it's pretty simple. Kids are discovering careers in your classroom every day. The insights that you are providing in your instruction, you guys are shaping the pathway and the decisions that the kids are making. And the courses that you're teaching and the electives, CTE courses, those are all part of the process of shaping those decisions that are outlined in the IGP. So the role for an educator is important if to reinforce those career-ready practices beginning at an early age. Educators are on the front lines of helping students better understand what choices they have and how they connect to the content that they're interested in. They're also great to be able to recommend those work-based learning opportunities directly linked to the content that the student has showed interest in. And then there are ways that they can provide real-world career examples in the classroom, whether it be teaching a PBL unit, doing a research project on careers that link to their content, or those structured field studies where they're getting out and getting into the real world of understanding how what they're learning in the classroom connects to the next step of their life. So together, again, I mentioned earlier, not working in silos and working better together. It's important that we all understand how it's a two-way conversation. For example, educators providing up-to-date information to school counselors, to administrators, career specialists, and families about the foundational skills that are needed to be successful in the course. It's a very purposeful and powerful thing when they are saying, hey, this is what you need in order to be successful in my class. Also, any updates about relevant certifications, if that's applicable for CTE programs or courses, be sure to share those. Make sure that the curriculum guides are updated with course summaries so that when students and parents are considering courses, that they understand exactly what is in the course and what is required. Providing general updates about programs and how that links to the pathway, the overall career pathway. And then again, making sure that work-based learning is incorporated into that process so that students have a good idea of maybe what they want to do after trying it, or maybe even what they don't want to do after giving it a try. Collaboration is key. Collaboration with directors, with other stakeholders, and school counselors. All right, I'm going to kick it back to Dr. B as we are improving our webinar skills today. I'm going to go on mute and make sure my volume's off this time, and he's going to talk you through a brief knowledge check because we've covered a lot of different terms.
All right, thanks, Erin. So I am putting this, I just enabled the chat, so I'm going to do another poll. So you should see this pop up now. So go ahead, answer that question. There is a correct answer. And we've got pretty much 100% of people getting that correct response. Awesome.
That's because you all are rock stars. Good job. Thank you for taking that knowledge. Oh, we still got some coming in. I'll wait for you. All right, so great job. And we are mastering these webinar interactive tools. Thank you for helping us learn. So which of the following best describes how we as educators, or you guys as educators, can support students in the pathway and program sequence? And yes, C, it's very important to provide that up-to-date course information, share the certification updates when that's applicable, recommend work-based learning. Good job. All right, so we shared some tools at the beginning that are linked into your landing page. These career advising resources that I'm sharing right now are specific to the IGP process, also found in the landing page. And these are things that you can use to complement, supplement, come alongside the discussions with families. We do have the link if you missed the overview, the broad overview webinar that was offered about what's changing, a much deeper dive into the cluster, the new cluster framework than what I just did, the brief overview. Feel free to go back and watch that to familiarize yourself with that. Also on the website and on the landing page, you'll find the role of the counselor at the Career Center in that process, the Career Specialist Toolkit that was created a couple years ago. You'll find a quick reference guide for the IEP and IGP process and where those two can really be done in best practice scenarios. Links to our SCOAS tools can also be found there. CHE has a lot of great resources to help in this career advising process. Please check their website out, and it's also linked on our website. Our regional career specialists play a role in helping this process. Please check out their resources, their contact, and also this is an awesome way for you to partner with the career fairs and speakers and all of the different business industry partnerships that you all have in your regions. Lean into that career specialist as your liaison between those resources and making those meaningful for students and families. There's a list of priority occupations and there's a dashboard there. Also some other information about career exploration for all levels. And then alternative school program information as parents who are exploring other maybe better fits for their students and their specific needs. And then different military career pathway information is linked onto our website as well. And all three Padlets, actually 4 Padlets, are linked on the landing page. You'll find the comprehensive deep dive into school counseling resources. CAMA has a great work-based learning Padlet for different updates and information from that area. Kevin's SCOAS Padlet is a great resource in terms of career awareness, career exploration, and career development. And Laura McNair's Accountability Padlet, her academic accountability Padlet, is a great resource to make sure students are on track, following the right guidelines for the transcript and the UGP. And you'll also find the engagement toolkit for Find Your Future, which is something we'll be talking a lot more about in the coming year and different ways that you can utilize that platform. So I want to take a minute here just to let you talk to each other because we know that clusters are not the central part of the discussion. It's more about the student and what they want to do, but it's also important to help them narrow that down. So we're going to put you into a breakout room for a few minutes, and you're going to have just an opportunity to pick one of the students on the screen. You can pick any one of the 4 students and think about what you've learned today, what experiences you have when talking about the IGP process, majors and clusters and programs, and 3 questions you're going to answer with your group. The 3 questions are considering the students' interests, what their likes are, what their dislikes are. Which career cluster would you say aligns? And please know that more than one could fit, and that's okay. Also, if you were leading that discussion in the IGP, how would you guide it? Where would you start? And what other information might you need in order to support that conversation? So we're going to get you into breakout groups. You're going to pick either Alex, Jordan, Taylor, or Cameron, whichever one your group decides, and just have a discussion about what that might look like in terms of the modernized clusters and EEDA majors in your region.
All right. So I am going to go ahead and give y'all access to unmute and turn on your cameras in the chat. And we're going to do just random rooms. So again, when you get in there, and this information is on the landing page as well. The landing page link is in the Q&A. But all of the information for each of the students is on there and the questions that you should discuss. So I'm sending you to those rooms now.
We are going to come back as a full group. Thank you for having some great discussion, and hopefully as we continue to host these webinars and these collaborative sessions, you guys can continue to connect and network and share best practices. That's the entire reason we want to have these sessions, for you all to become familiar and comfortable with not just the new cluster framework, but what resources are helping you guys in the process. How can you share that with each other? And then how can we continue to expand and really elevate those student planning processes that we have in our state? So hopefully you discussed just some ideas about how you would start the process, which career cluster might align best with each student. If there's a couple that fit, how you might justify that in the IGP itself, and then connect it to the work-based learning experiences that are outlined in the IGP process. And remember that we do have the landing page with a lot of resources to help support that process. If you need visuals, printables, Advanced CTE on the first screen that we shared with you all today is a great place to go and print those. Or you may also have someone in your district who wants to take those resources and adapt and change them for the needs of your school in your district. So I want to again thank you for your collaboration today, your time today. And I know it's summertime and you guys are just, in terms of showing up when you don't have to, that's what we do, and we do it because we love it. But some shared takeaways that we want to leave you all with is that career readiness, the process, is shared. It's a shared responsibility that we all have different roles in, but that we all can support each other in. So we broke down what the school counselor's role looks like in best practice, how the career specialist partners with the school counselor and the teacher and the educator to provide career readiness opportunities for students, and then what an educator can do to help support that two-way conversation between promoting their programs, their classes, what they are doing, and what foundational skills are needed to be successful in the classroom, and then how that content connects to careers beyond the classroom and how we can make those meaningful purposes along the way. So this framework that we talked about today, it helps us to break down silos. It helps us to look at how this works across a system. And then what are we doing to be able to respond to the workforce needs in our state? Which jobs in our state are the high wage, high demand jobs that are going to produce meaningful opportunities right after graduation, whether they're going right into college, whether they're going right into their career, to the military, or going into a technical school setting. What can we do to put a student in the best place possible to be successful and create those meaningful pathways? Every educator has a distinct role in that process, and we all are sharing, feeding into the career exploration piece, skill development, and overall pathway development over time. So I want to revisit our poll at the beginning. Well, maybe not. Let's see here. I can just go back and show you. Oh, Dr. B's got it because he's an amazing co-pilot today. He's going to put the poll that we did at the beginning back up to kind of measure where you are with that now. So go ahead and take a minute. How confident do you feel in discussing the modernized clusters with parents, with students, and with stakeholders? Go ahead and take that poll in the chat. Is it in the chat?
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. You should be able to see it.
It's a 1 through 5, not confident to very confident.
It's a Likert scale, 1 to 5. You give it 1 star. We've got some more work to do on our end. If you're up in a 4 and a 5, good for you. And we look forward for you to share your expertise across your schools and your region. All right, thank you for taking some time to reflect. Saw some 3s and 4s, a 3.5. I like it. My math teacher husband would love that precision with the decimal point there. If Awesome. Keep on giving your feedback. As we continue through this process, we are going to offer part 3 in the webinar series. So in July, on the 15th at 11 o'clock, we encourage you to join us for Modernized Career Cluster Best Practices. Again, this is not just going to be for one specific role, but everyone who plays a part in the process, bridging that gap between education and the workforce. So I hope you can join us, and we will be sharing information through our listservs again to remind the field. Don't forget the landing page that is going to be available for both of our sessions that have happened so far. Be sure to bookmark that and share that. You will be able to go back and watch these webinars on our new webinar hub located on the website. Huge thanks to Dr. B for really the piloting of all the tech things that if you've known me for more than 5 minutes, you know that is not my strength. So thank you for doing the interactive polls. Thank you for telling me when to mute, when I need to mute, and just thank you for your professional friendship that we have here. But if you'll take a minute, we would like your feedback on the webinar. Give us some pointers for what we can do better or what you would like us to keep the same for next time. And Dr. B, is there anything else we need to remind them of before they sign off today? Oh, certificates. They have 1 hour, right, to complete the survey?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you who complete this survey, that is how we will provide PD credit. So you have to do the survey in order to get your credit, and it has to be completed within 1 hour of the webinar. So we will not be able to give or award credit for those who go watch it after today, but we do encourage you to do that, to watch it and to share it as you see fit. So please do the survey, and then your PD certificate will be emailed to you hopefully within the next
Week.
Yeah. Thank you for the work you do every day. Thank you for showing up in the summer to support our students in South Carolina. We appreciate your time and your engagement today, and we hope you continue to have a relaxing summer. The survey is back up for those of you who need it.
It's also on the landing page at the bottom of the link table.
Yeah, the survey is also linked on the landing page at the bottom of the table, and it's on the screen. You can scan the QR code or get it from the landing page. Okay, we are logging off. You have our information. If you need to contact us with more questions, feel free to do so. We hope you continue to have a wonderful summer.